All right, welcome back to my motivational message. I know it's been a while since I've recorded one, but it was on spring break and a couple other things, but we're back, and I know this is about a week old here, but I've been struggling finding time in my life, but we'll give this a shot. As we all know, the men's NCAA tournament was played, and the final game was played last week, and I think many of us know that Villanova won. And that took me back to 1985 and this idea of a Cinderella team. I think when we see the brackets come out in March and we take a look at all the teams and the seedings, sometimes those of us who kind of get into it, we look and we see, well, which one of these low-seeded teams is going to be the Cinderella story this year? Which low seed is going to make it to the Final Four? Could one of them possibly make it to the final game? And in 1985, this Villanova team, seeded number 8 in the tournament, found themselves in a locker room before the championship game. They were 20-10 that year. They hadn't been ranked, as far as I know, all year. The coach, Rolly Massimino, was not well known. They'd only been to the tournament one other time prior to this, so this was only their second run into the tournament. But nonetheless, despite all of that, they were sitting in the final game. Their opponent was Georgetown University. Georgetown University had already won the championship the year before. This was their third visit to the Final Four in 4 years. They were ranked 1 almost the entire year, with the exception of 3 or 4 weeks when they lost to number 2 St. Joe that year. Patrick Ewing was on that team. He would be the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft, and of course John Thompson was the coach, a very well-known and prominent coaching figure in the NCAA. So Villanova was definitely facing a giant, and not to mention that Villanova had already been beat by Georgetown that year. They were in the same conference together. And so it definitely looked like insurmountable odds, but definitely you have this rags to riches story here where an unlikely team, just like an unlikely young girl, makes it all the way to the end to raise the trophy over their heads and celebrate a national championship. I think part of what got them there was the fact that they found themselves learning how to fight like an underdog. They knew that they weren't chosen to win. They knew that Georgetown was overwhelmingly picked by all the experts to win this game. This was not going to be the Cinderella story that many were predicting, and yet because they took that underdog position and decided that they were going to show the world that they had earned the right to be there, they turned out to be on top. And I definitely think that this is one thing for us to learn is it's not how big the obstacles are, it's how big the fight it is that we have inside of us. And so just like the Villanova team in 1985, I think we all can take a little bit away from here and write our own Cinderella story, realizing that we may appear to be, or we may know that we're at a disadvantage, but it's not the disadvantages that can keep us from achieving. It's the fight that we have inside of us that can keep us from achieving, or that can push us to achievement. So I would challenge you with the fact of building that fight inside of you to overcome any perceived or real disadvantages you may have in your life. But also, speaking of Villanova, I just want to take us to this one final thought that the NCAA men's tournament has, and it's One Shining Moment. I really don't know how long they have been using the One Shining Moment song after the championship game, but I think there's something here as well to share. This picture is of the last shot of the game. You can see there are 0.6 seconds on the time clock there. I don't believe that Chris Jenkins knew that at the beginning of the game that he would be taking this final shot to win the game. I don't think that. I don't think Jay Wright, coach of Villanova, had them in the timeout with 4.7 seconds left, looking directly at Chris Jenkins saying, hey, you will be taking the one final shot, and this will be your one shining moment. I don't believe that that's true. I think Jay Wright just set up a play that they've run all year. They understood the type of defense that North Carolina would run against them. They knew who they wanted handling the ball. They knew who their shooters would possibly be, and I think Chris was just one of a couple shooters that they were expecting to be able to take that shot. But the one thing about the one shining moment is this: it's only going to be a shining moment if you're prepared. It's only going to be a shining moment if you're prepared. If you're unprepared, it's going to be one dull moment. You know, when opportunity comes knocking, we don't know always when that's going to happen. We don't know when opportunities are going to come up in our lives and be ready to take us away. And if we're not prepared, if we haven't developed skill sets, if we haven't accumulated a certain base of knowledge, if we haven't prepared ourselves and trained ourselves for that opportunity, the opportunity is going to pass us by and go on to the next person. I know Chris Jenkins has spent hours upon hours taking thousands upon thousands of three-point shots in practices and in games. Me, I haven't. If I were wearing number 2 that night and Jay Wright had me on the floor, I would have missed that shot. I would not have been prepared for that one shining moment. So whether we think we're going to have a shining moment or not, and I do believe that all of us will have at least one shining moment in our lives, if not several, I think that moment will only shine if we are prepared. So let me challenge you with being prepared for when opportunity comes and knocks. So from the NCAA men's tournament, 2 things here. Learn to fight like an underdog. Learn to overcome your disadvantages by building the fight within you. And secondly, be prepared for that opportunity to shine by being prepared. I trust that this was a challenge to you. I hope this has encouraged you. Please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. Make sure that you share this with your friends. And also leave a comment, hit like, and come back next week and we'll have another message for you. Thank you very much.